Welcome, Tonci. This is the first episode of the Stragedy podcast where we talk strategies and tragedies of product management, requirements management, and I'm so happy to kick off with you.
I'm usually the guy to break the ice on everything, so
Really?
we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it's much easier to do this with a friend than with someone that I don't know. So
thanks for having me. It's an honor to be a part of this. It's an honor to be first one, absolutely. And I'm here to see whether I'll be the 100th one as well. But it's up to you.
I'd like to have you multiple times for sure. I hope this lives.
10, then 50, and then we can do 100.
So how I thought about this is to kind of walk over your early life, then career, and then we dive into more technical, more career-oriented stuff, questions, and later maybe AI and stuff. So can you remind me?
I will remind myself as well. Yeah, Tonci, I'm generally from southern part of Croatia. Haven't been there, haven't lived there for numerous years, but in terms of education, went full technical, went with robotics in high school, and kind of found myself in an engineering world, most likely because of father and all the family stuff, as it always goes. Super interesting stuff, always dreamed about doing robots for life. Ended up here.
You kind of are making
robots I'm kind
now.
of doing robots now, but more on that later. The issue with then I mean we are all young when going out of high school. You have less than 18 years and 6 years of somewhat adult life. No one knows what they want to be. Even if you do, I bet you really don't. You're hinting on something, and that being, I was most likely scared or something of higher education. Like, if I miss the college, is it going to be life changing, and then I end up somewhere I don't want to be? And during that phase of self reflection at what I want to do with life, I ended up in Denmark. I ended up studying in Denmark, which is probably the bravest I've been up until that point. Just to screw everything back home and let's go somewhere else.
So just to give context to people, in Croatia it's not usual path that after high school someone moves to a different country to go to college.
It's usually Erasmus or exchange students where you get the opportunity, but that's shorter. Yeah, I said no, full stop. I'm not even going to apply to any colleges in Croatia. I'm going to Denmark.
How did you discover this?
Weird. So friend of a friend spoke about on some hanging out. She spoke about going to Denmark or Scotland, I don't know, somewhere outside of Croatia for studies, and how it's super easy, how it's super streamlined, and you can do everything online. And then I think even that night or the morning after, I sat on a computer and applied, and they responded. I applied to, I think, absolutely everything you could apply in Denmark and Sweden. I'm not sure why.
So it wasn't this one?
No. It was like 8 of them. One replied because they had their submissions closed much earlier than everybody else, so they can basically catch all the students they want to, and then leave everything for the rest. And as soon as my college replied, I ended up in a process. Process takes a year, almost a year. So you start with grades from third grade of high school, and then if you pass that, you go into kind of final round of getting in, and then they randomly select a day or a week from last year of high school where you have to submit your grades from that day, because They know how it works in Balkans and everywhere around.
So
By
that
the end of the year, everybody fixes their grades. So
okay.
it's random somewhere.
So they were looking for consistency, basically.
For consistency, and obviously it was a Friday. We already left school. When I got an email, you have like 48 hours to submit your grades, and it was running and calling professors. I need someone to open school so I can take a picture of a of my grades to send it. That or I'm not going to college in a year. That went well, and then it happened.
I know. When I got to know you, I was so, let's say, interested in this aspect because I went the traditional path. Finish high school here, finish college here, and then this was total mystery. But I kind of always wanted, to study abroad, or so this isn't abroad. This is in Europe still, but study outside of country. That's what I meant. So
it's. I think it was being young enough that I was super afraid. I mean, it's always pressure from home. Like, you never left home. You're almost 18 years old. You never did anything with your life. How are you going to live without mom, grandma, and everybody else serving you? But I'm pretty sure if I haven't done that I would be somewhere else, not doing most of the stuff after that.
So how was it going from Split, Croatia, where sunny, perfect weather all the time, and then to Scandinavia, where basically the night never ends. The night never
ends. The cold never ends. It's a punch in the face, but it's a strong punch in the face from cultural differences to purely weather. So I had the opportunity to go home fairly often, once per semester or twice per year, something like that, which is most than
just a couple of days or
couple of days a week or so, but to get some sun. But the first actual period where I felt it, how it is to live there, it was first winter. So Split, what we get winters, you get 3 days of 10 degrees Celsius, and that's the coldest that it gets. Minus 27 first winter in Denmark, no sun for 18 days, rain for 15 days, and then you wake up like truck has like run you over. And I call my doctor back in Split, and she says like, where do you live? In Denmark. Yeah, darling, you're missing vitamin D, desperately missing vitamin D. It's how it feels to miss it. Now come back and get some sun, and then we'll solve it. Yeah, but that shock is I think you cannot describe it until you kind of feel it, because everybody says, yeah, you stay home, it's warm, it's fine, but you cannot stay home for 3 months, even though you want to.
Yeah. And then maybe for viewers that are from States, in terms of cost of education in Europe, like, is this in Croatia, back in the day at least, I'm not sure about today, it was free, your first attempt, and then on subsequent attempts, if you fail, you needed to pay, and then what you had to pay is not that much. But is this
Denmark in general, Scandi education? This has changed. I've been informed that it has changed, but back then it was free for all European Union countries. So I had a free college. I had basically anything related to college free. So only thing we had to pay is cost of living there. And that was
so no accommodation, like dorm.
No, we paid for accommodation. It was back then around 500 euros, I think. So significantly,
like a dorm room or a flat or
flat, 2 people flat.
But I know you had that super expensive MacBook all decked out. Was that college? Or?
Yeah, that was college. So during college we got this. I don't know what it's called, like Erasmus. Some Erasmus money to go outside of the country you study in to work for 6 months, 8 months. This was part of our curriculum, so we couldn't we couldn't continue studying, I think second year, until we get 6 months of actual work experience. And I conveniently chosen Croatia as my destination country. And I still got all the money like the people who went to, I don't know, Portugal, Spain, whatever. So yes, I had to work outside of Denmark, and then I came back to Croatia, to Zagreb. And
so this is also different, for example, between Denmark and Croatia, because in Croatia in college you have 2 weeks or something like that of mandatory where you have to go and work somewhere, and then you submit some paper. Someone from the company has to sign something, and at least when I was studying, I didn't feel that I got any real, experience from an actual company. It was, if I managed to find that kind of company and give more effort than was actually needed, but your story feels like they were forcing you to actually go for 6 months and
absolutely
and do
forcing.
something.
Like you have to do 32 weeks, and then when you get back, it's a scrutinizing effort. Like you have to pitch what you did and like make it meaningful enough for them to say, yeah, that okay, you really learned something. You weren't there for partying. To pass. I mean, it's not that hard, but still, it's not all fun and games.
But what was this college like? What did you finish?
I think my actual role is or education is ICT engineer, something like that. So I went on a bachelor program. It was ICT. Something communication technologies, I don't even remember anymore, but it was mostly programming, so Android, Java, C#, and a bunch of other programming languages, and it was all project based, so we were just continuously doing different projects in different languages, and very, very little theory. It's general Scandi education, where you usually get the problem, and then through your education, you learn how to solve it rather than learning some hard text and then trying to apply it. So I think this was crucial for me, because I was never a geek. I wasn't even able to study or read for 15 minutes. So that's already my mind running. And then when you get used to this like problem solving, then it gets much easier to do whole college.
After you finished, did you ever go back there to
I
visit?
didn't.
Like, did you make friends?
Oh yeah. I made a lot of friends. But
all of you were not from there. Actually, you gathered there for college, but then
mostly international students. So I cannot remember it. It's huge college, few thousand people, mostly internationals. Especially in my program, I made friends from around the world. With some of them, I'm still in contact. But I never went back to them. I went to Copenhagen. Never went back to Horsens, which was a small town where I studied. But I think now, 6 years later, something like that, I feel like I have the power to return there, because I just wanted to run. Like usually in Croatia, there's this ceremony where you get your diploma and everything. In Denmark, there's also this, but it's on the same day when you have your final exam. So you're both stressed whether you will get this diploma like an hour later, or you just called in your family for nothing. So I didn't call anyone.
You did it yourself?
I did it myself. I didn't even go to that immediately as I finished. Like literally, after going from the classroom where I passed my final exam, I went home. I was already packed, and my dad was just coming in with a train from the airport, and like, we are leaving now. I'm not going to stand, and I'm not going to be in this country for a minute longer than I need to be.
Was this Denmark summer or Denmark
No,
winter?
this was Denmark midwinter, so somewhere in February. This was like Wednesday, and then already next Monday, I was back in Rimac, sitting in the office doing stuff.
Okay, so before we go into this second time that you got to
that
Rimac,
second time,
let's assuming that this first 6 weeks of work
was there.
Rimac.
Was there.
So this is how we kind of met.
This is how we met. There's a lot of stories on that first week. It was very, very cool for me to join that young company when I came to Rimac. So this was summer 2017.
How did you find it?
To be honest, I have no idea. I know that someone from family. My father's wife knew someone working there. Pongi.
Okay.
But I was looking for anything in Croatia. I had interviewed with 10 companies, and nobody in Croatia wants to hire a not so cheap student, because Danish laws at that time prohibited companies to have free internships, so they had to pay me. And then Denmark also had a somewhat minimum pay that you need. They have adjusted it for Croatia, obviously, but it was still more than any company would have paid for a student back then. So I interviewed for a bunch of companies. No one wanted me, and then just through searching, through speaking with people, I got recommended to Rimac. I had no idea what you guys were doing, what was happening, who's this guy, who's this bearded guy trying to build a car. And I got an interview with Lugi. First time they said, okay, you seem to know something. We'll teach you everything else. Don't worry. If you want to come in. And I said, yeah, like I'm coming in tomorrow. No, we have a vacation. We have this. Come in a month and then we'll figure out what to do with you. And this is the first time. August 16th, Wednesday, 2017.
You know, to the day.
I was so stressed, man. I mean...
stressed to come to an internship.
Yeah, so I'm generally, you know me, but I do a lot of public speeches. I can speak like this anytime, anywhere. But for some reason that day, so I came to Zagreb 2-3 days before. I had gone with a car 3 times to Rimac from house, just not to mess something up on that morning. And then I came in, I parked. I parked in front of that Nikola Tesla huge poster, sign. I parked and I said, like, okay, I had practice until this moment, what now? And then I randomly popped into wrong building, into red building, and someone said, no, go there. And someone took me over from HR, or I don't know, and then it was easy. But I had like those 150 meters of walking through an unknown territory. But I was so stressed. It was middle of the summer. I had a business, the only shirt back then. I had the blue one, because it's your first working day. You have to look the role. Yeah, tied up. You all mocked me a week later, but
we were then. I was also involved in this M2M OEM dashboard telemetry system. So this was the team that you ended up in.
So they wanted, because M2M was done in Java, and my forte back then was Java. So they wanted to include me into this team. Yes, I ended up being backend developer, even though I didn't really know what I wanted to do. What was company then? Less than 150, something like that. People. So I basically expected, okay, whatever they give it, we'll find a way. Ended up being, it was backend Java, but very soon, if you remember, the only backend developer left. And then there was this kind of DevOps role that I held because I knew something a bit more than I did with Java, the very basic stuff. And then the whole new team formed, and it was basically already time for me to leave. So I did almost 6 months of backend development, few of them led by a mentor, and then a few of them just hanging with you guys, trying to do something. So very immediately thrown into a fire pit.
I know I liked you pretty early on. We clicked, and when you were leaving after this 6 months, I wanted you back, obviously. but you were not sure that you'll be returning. Like at that point, it was kind of farewell.
Yeah.
Forever, maybe. You know.
I got the chills now. It was a very, very kind of hard moment for me. At that point, I already knew I don't want to live in Denmark like full time. I always had that date. I think it was 27th of January 2019. I always had that date in mind. Like that's the day I'm leaving. And thank you so long. I will always keep you somewhere close to my heart, but I'm not going back. So at that moment, Croatia's IT was not that big. Everybody was leaving for Germany. Everybody was leaving for better paid jobs. And then I'm coming from Denmark, which was at that point like top 2 or top 3 paying countries in Europe, and coming back to a place where everybody's leaving from. So I didn't know what was in for me, but I always said like, okay, that was early 2018. I have a year more. Year is a huge period of time. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
So I wasn't committed on coming back, but as the date of leaving in Denmark was approaching, I figured out, cool people, very cool project. Nevera was already announced after that. C2 in Geneva. I have a story about that as well. C2 was announced. I felt as a part of that company, so I felt
this is something great I want to say about Rimac, because we all felt at least back in the day, this ownership.
We really did,
and you know, you kind of all of us saw our little contribution in this whole picture. So this.
So when I left, it was January or February 2018. Nevera was just prepping to be revealed in Geneva. And I really felt like I was torn apart from something great, from something amazing, that I felt sad to leave. And then I was still in contact with some of you guys, and I wanted to come to Geneva, and I packed my backpack and came to a train station to catch a train to Copenhagen, and then to fly to Geneva to meet with you guys there. And then I come to train station, and all the trains are for some reason cancelled throughout the whole night. I'm not going to make that plane. I'm not making it. And it was one of the okay, maybe this is not for me moments.
Or like a sign from the heaven.
Sign from the heaven. You're not part of that. Leave that car alone, like your ex. just move on. But I'm glad it didn't long term ruin me. I really wanted to come back. I haven't been to that Geneva, and I still miss that. Now Geneva is cancelled and it's all in past. I've been a year later and everything fine, but that one I missed.
Yeah.
I had it live streamed in front of whole classroom in Denmark. My whole class watched.
But did they? So after you, let's say, announced that you will be doing internship in Rimac, were they already aware of Rimac or of the product?
When I came back, when I did presentation of what we did, and then like this is a company, we are doing hypercar EVs. Fast as EV. At the end of that presentation, most of the questions were formed in a way that people thought that we were doing RC cars, like scale model RC cars,
really?
Because it's electric. Who the fuck is doing electric cars in Croatia, like full size cars? And then I had to redo part of the presentation. One of my professors said, "Oh no, let's do it again. It's a car. It's a huge car. It's a big. It's a 1.5 million.
Emphasize that it's a real car.
So everybody thought because it was electric that it's just pure RC car, and then so no one knew. I'm pretty sure they don't.
Crazy. It's like I know when some reviewers took the car and then they came out and said, "Oh, it's amazing. It's like a go-kart." And then when you say a go-kart for this super expensive luxury hypercar, you know, our PR people were going crazy because it's actually not a compliment, even though they meant it like a compliment.
Compliment.
Yeah. Okay, but then you did this 6 months. You went back for another year.
A year, a
then
little bit less than a
Who
year.
did you re-engage us, or
I sent a blind email to Lugi, mentor. He
Mhm.
was back then head of software. Hey, look, can I come back? And he immediately, I think it was less than an hour, replied with an offer like, come back. You
and
are
then
coming
this
back.
this offer was a real job?
A real
offer,
job, yeah,
like
full-time junior backend developer, whatever.
Okay. When you came back,
Mhm.
was I already a product person,
No,
or still
no,
developing?
but you were. I mean, when I was there already, you were a product person and
In spirit,
in
not-
spirit, but not on paper,
Okay.
and I think everybody knew that. But when I came back, you were still not officially a product person. It
Mhm.
was only. It took 2-3 months
Later.
that it happened, and then a month after I joined.
Okay.
But yeah, the team was still super small. And you were doing what you were trying to do with Borna, so front end.
Yeah. And then at some point, not so long after that,
2-3 months,
but I
max.
was moved from M2M project to Nevera Infotainment.
Yes.
So this is where we kind of split.
Very briefly,
Yeah.
and then I immediately joined you. I know I joined you before because I was prepping with you the Geneva infotainment for 2020 Geneva, the first one that got cancelled.
Yeah, but when I moved from M2M to Nevera, you became product basically for M2M.
Month or so, yeah, somewhere there. Yeah, that this is the story that I also wanted to say, and it's you were surprised to hear it this morning, but you were a turning point, and you are probably most responsible person for my product career. I always felt, and I say this on all interviews, job interviews, whoever asks me, I always felt I was not going to be the best software developer ever. I was always felt like mid, somewhere around mid. I just don't have that way of thinking to be a very good software developer. And I was searching, is it business, is it Scrum, is it, I don't know, DevOps, whatever. And then when you kind of sparked this product idea and it exploded, okay, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That works.
That's exactly how I felt. I also, in one of our other videos, I say exactly this. You know, I was better at product management than I was at coding, even though I wasn't bad at coding. But
I was bad.
No, but you weren't
Kidding,
bad. Yeah, interesting. I didn't know you.
Yeah, I'm forever grateful, and it is really without I will say it always without hesitation. It is but you always need someone. Is it a mentor or whoever to kind of spark the right spark, and then the fire starts. You were the first spark. Then I had a couple more after that, but yeah.
So not soon after that, the companies really split, I think, in spirit, then later officially. Yeah. And I was completely detached. I went to different building, different location. I was fully working on a car. And then let's say I was less aware of what was happening on this M2M. So how was this short period?
Yeah, we got set up when Marco kind of kicked off the product as a I don't know, department in the whole company. Then we started like rapidly hiring product managers. I'm doing quotes not because I don't like that people, that those were amazing product managers, but just because we had no idea what product manager want, and we just wanted to fill those roles.
Yeah.
Like at that time, I got to work with at that point product manager. I was product owner. He was purely business person, salesperson. So I got to kind of learn from that as well. But this was basically showing me more and more that product needs a real product person, and then it's hard to take an engineer and make it a product manager, or in different case take a businessman, amazing salesperson, and make him a product manager. So there's something in both of those roles that you need to be a good product manager, but it's not only one, and it's hard. So I've been a product owner for 4 years, almost 5 years, changing product managers. They were coming and going, but basically I was always on that part of the company, on the one to take care of product as a mostly like strategy of product and how we do things and what we do.
Yeah, this is exactly, funny enough, a content of another video that I made for this channel, where, and I also used quotes, and I explained the engineer, product manager, and the project manager in disguise of product manager. I felt that people don't get what the real product management is, and I don't think it's a problem of this company. I think it's a problem of Europe, maybe, compared to states where this is different, and how I figured out that this could be a difference between Europe and states is when we met Scott.
Yeah. You know how I met Scott?
No.
So Grape being part of the Rimac group, but again separate company, I bought Grape bike and was using it and abusing it. I was always one of their the trickiest users, because I would do all the things they said I shouldn't do with that bike, and I was always going there for service. And at one point someone told me, hey, we got this American dude, hi Scott, if you're watching us, we got this American dude, he's amazing, he wants to see what you guys are doing with car data, how are you visualizing it, because we want to do that with bike. And then I reached out on Teams, hey, do you want to meet? And like he took that, it was very early, either prototype or very early product of that one move, the weird Danish e-bikes. Anyhow, he like took it and cycled to Red Building. Hey, want to meet immediately? Okay, we're meeting now.
Like Scott, yeah.
We're meeting now. And I met, and we immediately clicked on a kind of personal level and talked about cars, bikes. I don't even think I've ever showed him what we were doing, what was the purpose of that meeting. We just talked, and we stayed in contact. And then he always wanted to go closer to cars. And when we got a role open in my team in our product, I said immediately, like, there's this. He's the only product manager in Croatia that I know that thinks that way, because he's from US.
The real product management mindset.
Experience.
To me, it's the same. It was you and him, basically. Like,
and then when we got him on board, we figured out that we have no use for a person of his caliber, and then we gave him to you. So this sounds so weird, but it was like, hey, do you have a use for this guy? Yeah, let's use him.
From him, I learned a lot, but maybe more important is I always had this feeling that I have to justify what I'm doing, why I'm doing it like the way I'm doing it, And for him, it was always like, that's how it was supposed to be done.
It's product.
So this is part of maybe unnecessary friction that I felt throughout my career, like you're not understood. So maybe if you can say something, your thoughts about, are product managers understood in companies in general? Like what any thoughts on
I think
on this?
there has been a huge shift in general in Croatia, and what I can hear, what I can see, we are becoming more and more product focused. There's less agencies, there's more products, there's more unicorns. But when we were starting, and when you were doing things and first specs and this and that, it wasn't that. It was super often to hear like, "What the f are you guys doing? Like, you're just writing stuff that no one will read or no one will use." And then specs were okay. We were coming from a garage of engineers that put the car together, but at some point you have to write something down. You have to especially on bigger stuff, you scale up and you don't know you scaled up. You have to put specs down to check the expectations, to manage the expectation, if anything, to manage expectations. And then we were facing this, like, okay, but what's your delivery? What do you do? Like, engineers do engineering, sales does sales. What do you do? What?
I remember when Grazin, who was technical director, director of engineering, something back in the day, he point blank told me, like, you cannot work without a deadline, which yes, I understand, but how do I? And then the second question was, when will you deliver a completed, never to be changed feature list of the whole car? And I'm like, go ahead and you do the estimation, like try defining the whole car and figuring out a deadline for that. And because maybe this product management wasn't understood in terms of how much effort there is to do this on the scale of the whole car, not enough resources were provided in terms of manpower in this particular domain.
Even when you left, you were two of you, then Scott left, then you left, so none. And then at the like peak of in Rimac Tech, there was three of us product owners and one product manager for a system that should have served like thousands of cars. The most comprehensive connectivity platform out there. So and there was always this thought, like, there's too many of you. What the three of you are doing? Like, we are barely surviving. That's what we are doing.
So fairly recently, both of us left Rimac to go to do different things. I started my own startup exactly because of the bloody pains I had during my career when it comes to writing these specs down. So guys, go to our website, SwipeSpec.com. There's a waiting list form. Get yourself on the waiting list and I'll try to get you in as soon as possible. We are making an AI tool for writing specifications to make this easier for real product managers, creative people.
I'm not real. I'm real.
who struggle with writing things down. But yeah, you moved into another interesting company in Europe.
But intermezzo to you starting, when he came with the startup idea on it was lunch to me and Scott with notion of, this is the company, I'll do this.
Yeah.
And he started listing all these pain points. I felt like real pain, like physical pain of, yes, you hit the spot. Please solve that, and then we can have lunch.
Yeah.
So my move, I moved out of Rimac, but haven't moved that far. Verne, named after Jules Verne, is a autonomous ride-hailing service, going to be autonomous ride-hailing service. Something died, huh?
We had a small technical difficulty. You were talking about, Verne. So
Verne is a colloquially known robotaxi startup. We are doing fully autonomous vehicles for ride-hailing, full service. So we are doing everything from infrastructure, vehicle, mobile app, administration of all of that with our partner Mobileye.
This is sort of Croatian Europe answer to
Waymo.
Tesla Robotaxi
to Waymo. Yeah, Tesla. So funny enough, we had a reveal event this June. And Tesla postponed its reveal event just after seeing ours. So did Elon watch? We don't know, but it seems like that.
Okay.
And then came out. Yes, but we are on a journey to make journeys much more pleasurable. So idea behind Verne is a very spacious two-seater, unmatched in-vehicle experience. So it's like living room on wheels. So you don't just sit in traffic, and we are not just kicking out the driver. we are making it much safer and much more enjoyable to ride. So even though you're sitting in traffic, you can do your calls, you can do Netflix, you can do whatever to get your time back.
So I've seen Waymo in person. I was in San Francisco, and those are basically normal cars with hooked up lots of external sensors. But what I've seen Verne doing is a different type of car.
We are building from ground up a new car, a new two-seater, immediately focused on autonomous driving. So there's no pedals, there's no steering wheel, there's no anything. It's just 2 seats and a bunch of room. It's an EV, and it was super optimized for urban driving. So this is only a city service, and it was designed in a way to be radically different, but not super intimidating. So I think that the idea behind the design is that any kid can draw it just from glancing at it and then remembering it. So it's a super familiar, friendly face.
So you went from a super hard job to extremely hard.
I went from we have to build 150 cars, and that will break all the records. So we have to build tens of thousands of cars that everybody wants to use, and like from super niche to mass market, and then from something that's super difficult to do to something that no one ever did. I mean, with Nevera also no one ever did it, but this is on another level.
Yeah. Are you learning a bunch?
I'm learning a bunch. I had no idea how the autonomous driving works. Now I'm becoming an expert overnight, doing a lot of rides. I mean, it's one thing when you sit in Tesla and put it in autonomous mode and it works, and the other thing is when you click a button and car goes off in the center of the city and just drives around with all the chaos we have in Zagreb, with all the traffic lights, with all the jams, and there's no one should take over. It's a car driving itself, so it's scary, but super interesting thing to do.
Cool. I want to also transition to this other thing that I know you're doing, which is SheepAI or SheepAI.
Yeah.
How you pronounce that?
SheepAI. It's SheepAI in English, but it's a wordplay in Croatian, because SheepAI in Croatian means ship it. To ship something, so SheepAI. SheepAI is currently a hackathon. We had our first event in December last year. Amazing success, almost 20 teams doing a full day hackathon with AI on topics that we got from our sponsors, so solving real life problems with AI. Amazing stuff, but SheepAI is much more than just a hackathon. We started with an event, so 3 of us, my 2 ex-colleagues and dear friends Victor and Domagoj, went to US, to MIT. They joined some hackathon, almost won. They were second or something like that, and then came back to Croatia like, we have to do a hackathon. And okay, you guys do a hackathon or whatever. And then we started speaking, and I saw that there's an amazing opportunity for that community. There's no, in that sense, there's not much of competitions, there's not much of hackathons in Croatia, especially in AI. You were part of the one, but that was more towards business than actual coding. And we wanted to focus on these kind of sort of indie developers. Like, with the power of AI, you can do anything overnight. So why not do it in one day and
literally
see in a hackathon? And then we started. We pushed ourselves to do one event before New Year's in December to kind of see how the public will respond. It was amazing. We did an amazing branding with Sheeps. Follow us on all social media. We were on all social media. So SheepAI on Instagram, SheepAI on LinkedIn, please. But what's next for SheepAI? So we are pursuing hackathons. We will do a couple more, at least 2, I think, this year. Scaling up, obviously, we started with small, 50-ish people. We are trying to scale that up, but more details will come soon. But alongside of that, we want to do a community of indie developers, hackers, and so on that's not that present in AI in Croatia. So we are starting Sheep community. It's still in the works. There's still nothing out there, but pretty soon you'll probably have sort of like this type of content more towards that segment.
So I want to say hackathons are extremely valuable and important in certain circumstances. For SwipeSpec, for my startup, it was like, it gave us focus and deadline that by some point we have to deliver this and that, and you're preparing yourself for this public event where you will speak. So yeah, basically SwipeSpec today exists because of this hackathon that I attended. Another thing I wanna say, this is maybe important for Croatian and for European startups and companies in general and people. You mentioned that these guys, Domagoj and Victor, they went to the States, to MIT, came back so fucking inspired that they started with you this SheepAI. And basically the same thing happened with me. It took 5 days of, San Francisco to come back, leave job after 9 years, start a startup, and now we're here talking about it. So,
I hope that one of our winning teams, we had really inspiring teams. We had, so SheepAI was organized in a month. We started from one coffee on one Saturday, and I was most likely hungover because not to brag, but we really were tired and uninspired. And when we came to that coffee, we met like SheepAI started immediately. A month later, we had an event, and we had an event with people from, I think, age range was something like 18 to 60. We had super experienced people with huge engineering background joining just to see what they can do with AI. We had a team of electronic engineers, something like that, company owners and whatnot, just trying to see what they can do with AI.
And how hard was it to organize this? Like, was the community supportive?
So we had a kudos to Victor and kudos to CroAI. CroAI is Croatian AI community. They immediately partnered with us. They said, this is cool, we will give everything that we can, all the contacts, even their own time. Girls from CroAI did an amazing job in helping us. So community from that point was super prepped. I think it just needed a cool brand, cool picture behind it to start something, and I think we kind of nailed it with the sheep. And then everybody started, like, I got gazillion questions in company around from friends. Why are you posting sheeps on LinkedIn? What's the sheep? Why the sheep? And then, okay, it's a hackathon. It has nothing to do with actual sheeps, but it's a cool. And I think we got this traction very, very easily. We didn't even market anything. It was purely kind of, what do you call it? Natural scale. So I don't think we spent 50 euros on ads.
So what are kind of your roles there between you, Victor? Like, are you starting a company around it?
It's not official yet, but Victor was the guy pursuing all the sponsors, sending all the emails, basically driving us, leading us. I was there mostly on the brand side. I'm the guy behind Midjourney and the sheeps and that tacky copy on all the pictures. I like that type of content, and you can see on my Instagram and Sheep Instagram that it's always tacky. It's always kind of edgy. And then Domagoj is tech there. Domagoj is, if we ever happen to be a company, he'll be CTO most likely.
CTO, okay.
He is the one responsible of kind of thinking about the tasks and then how we can allow people to or enable people to develop something in a day.
Cool. I mean, I wish you I wish you all the luck with that. I really like the brand and what you guys are doing. I hope we weren't ready to attend or speak at the first one, but now we are much more mature, I want to say, and know what our message is, and I'd like to join and contribute on the next one.
Maybe a bit of context. So SheepAI's idea is not only hackathon; it's to kind of combine hackathon and let's say non-technical speeches, so kind of inspiring speeches, how to kickstart your company, bootstrap versus VCs and so on. So we always that was the initial idea. Hackathon, absolutely, but how do we provide more value? And then we thought about there should be a meetup where people should come without technical background to get some value, to get some knowledge, and then they will mingle with the people doing hackathon, and we are merging basically two worlds that don't meet. And this comes from going around Croatia's meetup scene and tech scene. If you go to business focused, you meet one group of people. If you go to tech focused, you meet the other. It's always the same group on the same events, but they never kind of merge, even though they are doing the same things but from different perspectives. So this is kind of a USP for for SheepAI, is merging those two worlds.
Yeah, very interesting.
Thanks.
I also wanted to talk to you in more general terms about AI. Like, where were you when ChatGPT came out? Or
you know exactly where was I.
Yeah.
In the office, and I was denying it. So I, for some reason, I don't know, like from the start, since I was super young, I was the last one to join Facebook. I was the last one to join any social media. I was always last one to tech. Except iPhones, I always wanted the newest one. But I was always kind of skeptic, like, okay, let it sit. And then if it catches on, and then that was same with ChatGPT. It's a vector model. If you understand how it works, it can't do much. And I managed to resist for maybe an hour after launch. This was the quickest adoption I did ever in my life.
I resisted ChatGPT for 1 hour.
Well, I resisted. I have to say I resisted. Okay. But yes, I was. I had a colleague. He's an amazing engineer, especially for ML, Ninoslav, and he already knew what was coming, and he explained me very deeply how it works and how it chooses words to say, and then when you think it from a technical perspective, okay, it's impressive, but I don't see that much value. But then when you sit behind it and then when you ask him like why the sky is blue, and it says the most meaningful thing ever, and then mind blown immediately. Okay, from now on you're my best friend, you're my co-worker, you're my everything. And I've kind of came in and out of how much value can you extract, because when you go super specific to one topic, then you start to see where it falls back to humans. But as start to everything, as baseline to everything, always.
So do you see AI replacing people outright, like you are no longer needed, or there is some cohabitation?
AI as a generic topic covering everything, yes. LLMs immediately replacing people, I don't think. There will always be cohabitation, and even with obviously, if you have a web shop that you're running and you're selling flowers and you need content, obviously you won't hire a copywriter. You will do it with the AI, because it's cheaper, it's quicker, it's everything. When you scale up, you will hire a copywriter. But on a focusing on a product, serious product management, it can help. It should be a tool. It should be a hammer to smash down bigger walls, but it can't do it by itself. So
I absolutely agree with you, and this is what I'm trying to do now, is not to to replace your human creativity. You should come to SwipeSpec with your notes, with your ideas, with your drawing from a whiteboard, but you shouldn't waste the time to phrase it over and over into the same sentence that has the same structure, just because the rest of the process works best if you structure it that way. So
there's a huge task of repetitiveness, or a lot of repetitive tasks in your daily work, and that if I can solve it in a second, why waste 3 hours?
Exactly. So I've even seen situations where interns were hired so that product manager, the real guy who brings value and creativity, can offload repetitive writing to an intern for this, and I don't see this solved, and I see AI or LLMs enhancing it, like
absolutely, absolutely.
As long as we keep human in the loop. Any final words, final thoughts?
We went through so many topics. What do you want to do? Final thoughts for students? Go out and go and study farther away you can from your own country. Move out. If you want my thoughts on AI, I don't know. I don't know. Just use it and tailor it to yourself. I see a lot of people and companies like forcing themselves to use AI. It's not for everything. Basically, you have to find a way how to use it as a tool, because still, if you buy the biggest hammer, if you hold it improperly, it won't do anything. I see same thing with AI. If you brag around that you're using AI and you hope AI, LLMs, whatever, like in the broader spectrum of AI, what AI can be, if you're just bragging that you put it in, you might not be the one to use it. And that's it. Follow SheepAI everywhere. This is not a pure PR. This is just forcing ourselves to make more content and forcing ourselves to move that thing further. If we see pressure from outside, it will help us be a bit faster and do some things. That's it. Thank you for having me. We had a blast.
Thank you for coming.
And an hour went by super quickly. We were stressed. We were talking this morning like how this will go. Will we have enough topics? But now I'm super comfortable and I could sit here for 3 more hours.
We need to find topics for 3 hours.
We need to find more topics. But thanks.
This was it. The first episode of the Stragedy podcast. Go to SwipeSpec website again, fill out the waiting list form, get yourself on the list. I want to give the tool to you as soon as possible. Thank you, Tonci, for being here, for coming here. Let this not be the last time that you're here.
Absolutely.
And goodbye.